Hi, this is Becky from the Painted Stone Cottage. I just wanted to share with everybody today. I was thinking back a few years ago before I started really getting into gardening in Florida, how disappointed I was that I wasn't taught any of the things that I grew up with. I wasn't taught how to garden. I wasn't taught how to can. I wasn't taught how to use a sewing machine. Um, Let me think what else. I wasn't taught how to cook. I mean, sure, I could fry an egg, but seriously, when I got married to my first husband, I didn't know how to do anything. And I thought, wow, that's really unfortunate that my parents' generation, even my grandparents, didn't think that they should teach me how to do much. I mean, my grandfather taught us how to hunt and, clean meat. But that was really it. Like, we helped get the garden in the ground, but we weren't taught anything about maintaining the garden, how to treat for bugs. I mean, I recall my grandfather saying something about dish soap, but I had no idea what for. I never heard of, what is it, pickle worms. Never heard of any of the stuff that I encounter when I'm gardening. And it made me very sad. I knew that my mom knew how to do all this stuff, but she wasn't around. And what little time I did get to spend with her, she didn't teach me any of the stuff that she knew how to do. She knew how to can. I can recall her coming to visit when I was a child and making like 20 loaves of zucchini bread from the zucchini my grandfather grew. But I wasn't taught to do any of that. So my experience and learning has been through books and YouTube videos and a lot of trial and error. Man. But I think it's very important that what we are learning and teaching ourselves, that we hand down. Like, my granddaughter is learning all this. She is right there at my side, and I'm teaching her, how to do everything I'm learning to do in the garden. I'm showing her the different bugs. I'm showing her the different diseases that I encounter. When I start canning, she's right there with me, and she's eager to learn all this, because she knows that the world is really gone to crap. And she knows that eventually you won't be able to go to the grocery store and get a lot of things. And if you do, the price is going to be phenomenal. We are preppers, me and my husband. Yeah, I have a husband. He's just shy. You'll see him eventually on some videos. But we believe in being ready. Like, we have a fallout plan. We have fallout gear ready. And our fallout gear includes seeds. That's right, garden seeds. Because no matter where we end up, if something happened, like, Florida gets flooded out by tidal wave or some monsoon or something, wherever we go, we know that we're going to need to garden. We need to grow food. We also store vitamins. People don't know how important vitamins are. If you get deficient on iron, B6, B12, just so many different vitamins, a little bit of deficiency will make you feel like death. I have fought with the iron deficiency for, I guess, about 7 years now. It's up and down, up and down. But I'm also a woman going through my change of life. So I guess that's part of it, fighting your iron. And knowing how bad that makes me feel, I realized how important it would be to have supplements in our fallout gear. And we have bullets for every gun we have. We have a stockpile of ammunition for every gun. That way we're prepared. We also have BB guns, a slingshot, a mini like hand crossbow, for what if we run out of ammunition. You know, you just never know. And well, with the slingshot, there's rocks everywhere, so you've always got ammunition with that, and you can always take out small prey. Um, we have tents, mosquito nets, hatchet. There's just so much stuff that we sat down and compiled a list of what we thought was very important, and it ends up being a lot of stuff. Like a cooking pot. People don't think that far ahead a lot of times. Oh, if something happens, I need a pot. They grab some clothes and their important paperwork, and they run out the door. And that's not the case with us. We have an area where our stuff is stored, and we know that we need every bit of that if something happens. Whether we have to escape by boat, truck, horse, or four-wheeler, whatever we got to do to get out of here, we know we have to get all that gear with us, and we've got it combined, and packed down into small bags, as tight as we can get them. But I just wanted to talk to everybody about, sharing that information with your children. What to do if something like that, if a disaster happens. Do they know where your fallout gear is? Do you have fallout gear? Are you ready? Because it's not looking really good for this earth. And to be honest, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if the earth didn't hit the reset button really soon, because we are really messing things up, people. So I urge everyone to teach your children to can, teach your children to sew, teach them to cook, teach them to garden, teach them how to sterilize water, for God's sake. Your children, if something happened to you, what would they do? Could they take care of themselves? I know my boys couldn't have, but even now, as adults, I doubt that they could, even though I'm trying to teach them, and they're like, Mom, you're crazy, nothing's going to happen. You're just, paranoid. Well, maybe I am, but if I'm not, I'm ready. I got things ready to go. But most important, I've got my seed stash in case we need to go. And, I wish that it was more important for my grandfather to teach me how to garden and stuff like that than it was for him to teach me how to work on a car or go hunting. Now, hunting, I understand and I appreciate that. I was killing animals by the time I was 8, so it doesn't bother me because they're part of the food chain to me, and that's all they are. I don't look at a chicken ever as a pet. I don't allow myself to get attached to even a cat. I have 3 cats, but they're animals, and if something happens to them, it doesn't get to me because I just wasn't raised like that. I had a little dog when I was a kid, and it broke my heart when I got hit by a car. And Grandfather just explained to me, he said, you know what? You have to look at all animals as part of the food chain, honey, because in some countries, dogs aren't pets, they're food. Just like a cat, in some countries, it's not a pet, it's food. He said, and if it came down to it and you were starving, I guarantee you're going to look at that cat and dog a lot different. He said, so don't let your heart be tenderized by little animals. He said, you can't live that way. You'll have a lot of heartbreak because animals don't last long. Things get to them in the wild. My cats are free range. It surprises me every night when they come home because we've got panthers, bobcats, rattlesnakes, coral snakes, bear, vicious raccoons around here, even though I have some pet raccoons. There's a little three-legged raccoon because somebody set a trap out and it literally chewed its own arm off to get out of it. Now, I take care of that raccoon and I feed it my scraps and stuff, but just like all animals, every day when I see it come through, I'm surprised. And trust me, if it came down to it, that raccoon would be in my refrigerator if I had to eat it. I'm not going to starve. Same goes for any of my pets. I hate to do stuff like that. It would be a last choice, but I also look at it as, well, they're going to starve to death, or I can starve to death. So, but that also brings up foraging. Sure, we went blackberry picking and stuff as kids, but we weren't taught which mushrooms were safe to eat, or other plants for that matter. I mean, I can remember my grandfather going out and picking mushrooms, but he didn't take us along. I wish he had, because now it's like I look at those mushroom books and I think, God, there's so many that look similar. There's no way I would trust myself. But I see plenty of other plants out there that I have learned to identify down here in Florida that are safe to eat. So, always learning, and I'm proud of myself because those things that I wasn't taught, I have taught myself. I got the books, I watched the videos, I read and read and read and read. I taught myself to use a sewing machine. Now, I'm not great at it, but if I had to sew myself a pair of pants, I could do it, damn it. And I taught myself to can, and I love canning. Nothing makes me happier than canning the harvest from my garden. And when I open up those green beans for Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving and know that they came out of my garden, I am proud. And they taste so much better than any of that stuff in the store. I've taught myself so much that was neglected, on me. So teach your children, people. You have no idea how important this may be in the future. That country way of life that everybody laughs at may be the only thing that saves us in the future. Maybe the only thing that saves your children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. You just don't know. But, there's a book out there called The Lost Ways. Everything has been so lost on our society in the last 50 years, it's ridiculous. What was once a way of life, everybody had their own garden. Everybody knew how to do all this. It just got lost along the way. Nobody cared anymore. Everybody stopped thinking it was important because they could run down to the local store and get whatever they needed. I just don't want to live that way. I don't enjoy that food in the store. Nothing tastes right. And even the milk. Like, as soon as I stopped drinking fresh cow's milk when I was a kid and switched to the stuff in the store when I moved with my mom, I lived with my mom for a short period of time. But in 2 months' time of getting off fresh cow's milk and starting to drink it out of a gallon from the store, I became severely lactose intolerant. So now I have to have special milk. I think that just all that ruins us. It ruins our bodies. It ruins our health. You can just tell everything's just ruining us. Everybody's getting all kinds of health problems. So isn't it time that we took a step back and stopped letting doctors push all these pills on us, and we took it into our own hands to figure out what we should be eating, what vitamins we can take, what's rich in what to help us with the needs that we have. Well, I guess that's all the preaching I'm going to do today. I just found it heavy on my heart because of how disappointed I was at how little I was taught growing up. I was taught to crochet a chain, but I even had to teach myself to do anything more than that. It was just something to occupy me and get me out of my aunt's hair. You know, I got to watch her do some canning, but I wasn't allowed to help. So teach your kids, people. You know, it's important. It really is. So thank you for watching today, and subscribe to our channel. Send us a shout out. Write us a letter, whatever. You know, we love to hear from people. So have a good day, everyone.